everyone, this is Dawn. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make a card using the March stamp of the month called Winged Masterpiece. You can get this stamp set for $5 with any $50 purchase, or for free with a $50 purchase if you're a VIP. This is the stamp set. I'm going to use the Dragonfly image, and I'm also going to use a stencil from Stencil Pack 3, and this was a 12 by 12 stencil that I've cut down. So I'm using removable Tombow to fix my piece of cardstock to my glass mat, and I'm going to spray my stencil with a low-tack adhesive spray called Pixie Spray, so I can put my stencil down and then it won't move. So I'm using Stickles glitter gel. This one is called Moon Dust, and if you use it's Glad Press and Seal, if you use that to cover your Stickles glitter gel before you put your lid on, it'll keep it from drying up and getting thicker. It'll keep it fresh. Okay, so I'm just laying my stencil down, and then I'm going to spread out my glitter gel, and then I'm using a larger spatula from Cricut to spread the glitter gel in to keep everything in at the same level and flat. I'll just scrape off some excess and then move my stencil around and do the same process. So I'm trying to keep a rather thin layer of gel in my stenciled area, just so that, because it does take a while for the gel to dry, so the thinner it is, the quicker it will dry. So I'll just continue the process and move everything around. I'm not being too persnickety about the results, because a lot of this stenciled area is going to be covered up by my stamped images when I start assembling my card. But I wanted the basic effect of the chevrons with that pretty glitter. It's kind of an iridescent gel with chunks of glitter in it. It's really pretty. And if you use it on top of color, it will take the effect of the color that's below it. It's my favorite of the 4 colors that are available. This one is Moon Dust again. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside to dry, and then I'm going to move on. So I've got another piece of cardstock, and I'm going to affix it to my glass mat, and I'm going to do some oxide blending. So the first color I'm using is the new Rustic Wilderness, and I'm going to lay some color down, and then I'll start in with the next color, which is Mowed Lawn, and I'm going to leave just a small line of white between everything. The first thing I'm going to do is just get color laid down, and I want kind of even amounts in each section. And then the third color is Twisted Citron. And then after I get that down, I'm going to start to draw it into the next darker color. And then I'll go back with the Mowed Lawn and start pulling that down into the Rustic Wilderness, and then go back with the Citron, and just keep going back and forth until I'm happy with the blend that I've got. So it's kind of an ombre effect here. Okay, and then I'm going to spray it with some shimmer spray from Tsukineko. I'm just doing a couple of spritzes so that I have a fine glitter. It's hard to see it on camera, but it's just a fine layer of glitter over that. Okay, so now I'm going to bring my mat back in, and I'm going to do some stamping with my Misty. I like to use my Misty for these large stamps. First, I'm going to hit my oxide blended card with my heat tool to make sure that it's completely dried. It does take a little bit for that oxide ink to set up. So it speeds the process if you hit it with your heat tool. Okay, so I'm going to stamp in black ink. I'm going to stamp or ink up my Dragonfly image really well, and then stamp that down over my oxide blend. This is an easy way to get some good color for these images without coloring in all the details of the stamped image. Okay, so we'll get that out of the way. And now I'm going to do some stamping. So I'm going to heat emboss my sentiment using Versamark ink and white detail embossing powder. So this sentiment, it says thanks, and it's from the January stamp of the month. But really you can choose any sentiment that you would like to go at the bottom of your card. And I'm stamping it on grape cardstock. I'm going to sprinkle some embossing powder and then tap it off. And then I'll hit it with my heat tool and melt that embossing powder. So the colors that I chose, purple is opposite green on the color wheel, so they complement each other when you put them together and makes the green really pop. So I like to use purple and green together when I'm choosing colors. Okay, so now I have the pennant thin cut, and I'm putting it at the base of my thanks sentiment and cutting that out. And then I'm going to trim it down. So I'm going to place it in my trimmer, and right now I'm just kind of guessing a little bit more than an inch, and I can always trim it a little bit more once I get everything laid out on my card front. Okay, so I'm going to start building my card. Have my card base. It's an A2 size, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and then I'm just going to tack that down with Tombow tape runner. Ran out of the Tombow, so now I have the Close to My Heart tape runner. I'll just get that tacked down. So I'm going to have a base of grape cardstock, and then I'm going to trim down my Dragonfly image, and then I'm going to mat that with grape. So I'm just trimming everything as close to the image as possible. And rather than doing a square, I'm going to go ahead and do a rectangle. And I'll just trim everything out. Okay. And then I'll bring another piece of grape in, and I'm going to trim this so that there's a really thin border around my image. So not really, I'm kind of using my Versamat to measure, but really I'm just placing my image on top and then figuring out where I want to trim my cardstock. Okay, so now my glitter gelled piece is dry. It takes about an hour for it to set up and dry. And I'm going to adhere this to my card front using score tape because it doesn't dry completely flat. And so using the score tape will make sure that it adheres completely and flattens out. Isn't that cool? Okay, and then I'm going to adhere my Dragonfly piece to the grape cardstock. And I'm just going to lay things out on my card front to see where they are. And that thanks sentiment needs to be trimmed down just a little bit more. It's a little too tall. So I'm going to trim it right up above. There we go. Okay, and then everything is going to be popped with thin foam tape. place all of these elements onto my card front. I love how that dragonfly turned out with the green oxides. So cool. Okay, and then the last step, I'm going to add some of these iridescent gems from PinkFresh Studios. I'm going to scatter some of those around. So most of these supplies are available in my online store. I will make a list of everything with links in the description below, and you'll be able to shop for supplies to create a card like this. I hope you'll give it a try. It's lots of fun using the mixed medias. I appreciate you watching my video today. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. And thanks for watching.